Yeah, he brings a lot to the game, and he's right here.
Right now.
Online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
Hey, everybody. What's happening? How y'all are? Welcome in on this Monday. Sing along, everyone. Monday. Da, 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 da. That's the mamas and the papas. Don't you ever.
The mammies and the pappies.
Mammies and the pappies. Hey, it's been long enough ago. They should probably change their name to the Meemaws and the Peepaws.
True.
Well, look, don't ever make the mistake of crediting that song, even though you're doing a talk show. Don't credit that song to the Beatles. Because let me tell you, the Beatles fans will let you know quick when you either A, credit something to the Beatles that isn't theirs, or B, credit something to somebody else that is the Beatles. They will let you have it. I've experienced that before. And I get it. Hey, look, they're dedicated. I get it. Welcome in on this Monday to the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau Insurance, go with the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau across the great state of Mississippi. Your hometown heroes, that's your local Farm Bureau insurance agents all across the state of Mississippi. Staying connected to you because of C-Spire, the number one network in Mississippi. C-Spire, customer inspired. What kind of weekend did you have? Did you have a good one? Huh? Did you have a good one? Bill, what about you? Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah. All right.
Started getting a little hotter on Sunday.
Yeah, it started heating back up, didn't it? I think it was Friday. Okay, so, we only did a 2-hour show on Friday and skipped out on the next hour. And it wasn't just being lazy. I needed to get away an hour early so that I could make it out to Mississippi State's first football practice of the fall, which I did make it. I just want to report that I did make it. They saw me and I saw them. The first practice of the year was Friday. But, man, I stood out there thinking to myself, I said, "Self," says I don't ever remember having a first fall practice that was this nice, cool, and almost crisp. A little breeze blowing. In fact, a big old breeze blowing. Have you ever been to the practice fields at Mississippi State? It's sort of on a hill anyway, kind of, in between old, 82 and the bypass through there on 12. But it's up and elevated, and the wind kind of comes through. It's a very windy place. Just ask the kickers and punters. But, I was just thinking, it's nice. But you're right. You're right, Bill. Like really yesterday, it really had heated back up again. And I think that I may be wrong, but I think I looked ahead, and this week we're in the 90s every day, aren't we? Or did I dream that up?
I think we are, and it feels like temperatures are going to be up in the hundreds.
Yeah. Okay. So today in Tupelo, we've got a heat advisory. That's after, you talk about how the weather changes around here. Last week we had a little cool snap where the low was down in the 60s. And we're back here on Monday with a heat advisory. It's 92 degrees, but because of humidity, it feels like 103. All right, so the highs today, this is North Mississippi, the highs today, 94, 96 tomorrow, 95 Wednesday, 95 Thursday, 95 Friday, 92, 91, 90, up, later I'm looking here, at least this is a long ways off, but the extended forecast, day 9 and 11 of a 10-day, it says we're going to have a high of 89 degrees. That could be because there's thunderstorm chances on those days. 89 and thunderstorms, that's still hot, isn't it? Well, you know what Bill Belichick said last week about, for him and the Patriots team, they were practicing in the rain. But when he was talking about practicing in conditions, he covered heat also. This is what Bill Belichick said about it.
Whatever it is, it is. I can't control that. So looks like the field will be wet. If it rains, it rains. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If it's hot, it's hot. If it's not, then that's what it is. So, it's really nothing's changed. It's just good fundamentals, good ball security, like being aware of the conditions that we're in can be significant, a little more focus on looking the ball in and so forth. But ultimately the game's played against, a competitor. And so, we're not out there playing the weather. The offense is competing against the defense and defense is competing against the offense. And, if all we do is, worry about keeping our hands dry, then it's probably not going to be a lot of good results.
Bill, I so wanted him to say, when it's hot, and when it's not, so that we could dub that in and make it fit the old Jerry Reed song, when you're hot, you're hot, and when you're not, you're not. Well, anyway, yeah, so it's hot. You got to practice in it, and they are practicing. Okay, so real quick, let me let you know, today, normal show, live with you. Let me hear from you today. Lots of ways for you to be a part of the show, and what y'all think is just as important as what I think. So comment on the live stream if you're on YouTube or Facebook. Hey to y'all. By the way, on the live stream, Sven, the first to comment, said, hello, everybody. New week, new luck, as we say here in Germany. He's tuning in from Berlin. Mike was in and gave us a big shout out and a hey. Danny on Facebook said, Hail State Matt from Ringgold, Georgia. So hey, everybody, you can comment on the live stream, get in the conversation that way. Y'all text me on the Country Pleasin' text line. Country Pleasin' sausage on grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. It is 885-ESPN. It's a 601 number, 885-ESPN or 885-3776. Text away. It's wide open to you. Call me on the Davini phone. If I can hear your voice, that's good too. You'll talk to Bill and then he'll let me know you're here. And everybody else get to hear your voice too. That'd be great. Call me on the Davini phone, 995-1059, 601-995-1059. Denzel texted me and he said, mark this on your calendar. He's reminding me on Friday, September the 10th. September the 10th, 7 p.m. in Madden, Mississippi. Not too far a piece from here. Union versus Leak Academy in the Junction Bowl. You don't want to miss this. You are hereby invited. Get your popcorn ready. Hey, why is it called the Junction Bowl? Huh? What's that all about? Yeah, all these games that have a name, there is some history behind it, and I want to learn the history behind them. I want to know. I love history.
Sounds
I
like
want to know.
It might be like a junction of a couple of roads or something right there close by.
And sometimes the word junction was used for like what, railroad junctions and
like Petticoat Junction,
right? And so if it's anything like that, that's what I want to know. It's like, let me give you an example. So like Corinth, for instance, up in North Mississippi, extreme North Mississippi, but they've got like the Crossroads Arena and the original Crossroads and the Crossroads Museum. You're like, why the Crossroads? It's because they earned that moniker. This is like slightly pre-Civil War when the two major railroads in the Southeast crossed in Corinth, in Mississippi. The Mobile in Ohio, and then what was the other one? What's the other one? Atlanta or something? I don't know. Anyway, they crossed right there. And they had a big Civil War battle, and the tracks still cross, form a perfect little XT right in the middle of downtown Corinth. It's all happened right there. So they got Crossroads. So up there, everything's going to be called Crossroads. Well, if in Madden it's Junction, why is it Junction? All right, now we're getting down to it. Denzel said that Prince Oil Company, a la Mr. Philip Prince, everybody's favorite three-point shooter. Hey, y'all tell Philip that I said this on Big Time Sports Radio. Philip Prince never saw a shot on the basketball court that he didn't like. His nickname was AO. It stood for Always Open. Prince Oil owns the Junction Deli and the Chevrons around East Central Mississippi. Family of Prince Oil are fans of Leak Academy, and they all went to or go to Leak. All right, we're getting it down to, and so we've got a second confirmation now, a second eyewitness. In this case, it's Eric, and he says it goes back to them. Okay, great, perfect, wonderful, awesome. I really do want to try to go to that. Hope it works out. I'll be making my preparations to go. How about that? Thanks for the text. Yeah, look, I'm coming off a weekend, so I watched State practice football on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all 3 days. They are practicing this week, today, tomorrow. Wednesday, I believe the 11th is the first day of full pads practice. Pretty sure they are off on Thursday. Now, Friday, I don't know. I got some of the other schedule, but I know Thursday's an off day. Going to practice so today, tomorrow. I don't know if today, tomorrow for them is in just helmets or in shells like they were in yesterday, which is shell practices where you don't have full pads on, but you have shoulder pads and helmets. That's what they did yesterday. I don't know if that's today or tomorrow. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure Wednesday is supposed to be their first full pads practice. And so I have to figure out something because I want to see that if they're going to let folks go watch it. So, yeah, it's just nice to kind of, last year was a dear, well, understandably, everybody was staying apart. They're trying to keep people away from players and coaches, understandably. We didn't travel with the team to road games. We got ourselves there. We just weren't around them that much. And so a lot of the getting to know people and conversations and that kind of stuff, for me anyway, as a member of the radio crew, was interrupted last year. But everything was interrupted for everyone. It's understandable. So it's just nice to be able to, even though there's still some separation and distancing, and of course indoors, everything indoors, everybody's got to have a mask on. It's still nice to be able to, like, outdoors, at a practice field, watch football practice, talk to people, talk to coaches, and kind of get an eyeful of that kind of stuff. It really, I guess what I'm saying is I sort of missed it and maybe didn't realize how much I missed the practice part of it. So, yeah, it's good to be out there. So questions on that, I'll try to fill you in. But maybe the best way to fill you in is this. If you are interested in Mississippi State football, I just today published what's going to be a new podcast that I'll have twice a week throughout the fall. And it's strictly a Mississippi State football podcast. So if you're a podcast person, like you want on demand, listen when you're mowing your grass and that kind of thing, just check it out. Everywhere you get a podcast, just look for Better Than Average. And it's based on that comment. The title came from that comment from Mike Leach after they beat LSU, and he's being interviewed by TV. And they're like, hey, this is a great way for you to come back into the league, huh? He's like, yeah, it's better than average, I'll tell you that. So that's where the idea came from for the title. First one went out there today. And on the radio, the best way I can tell you to go find the links are to find me on social media. I'm Radio Wyatt. Wherever you look on social media, there's links all over those places. Or you can just go to my website, which is mattwyattmedia.com. Okay? And there, go to the audio tab, and there it is, Better Than Average. Click it. You'll be able to, there's several different places to subscribe, including, Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify, if you want to subscribe there. And the plan is to push new episodes out every Monday and every Thursday, unless there's an adjustment. But that's the plan right now. Okay? Good deal. So there's a lot on there. This first episode I published today, I kind of went through all the position groups, just, basic thoughts coming out of the weekend. But that's really kind of the overall thing. And this goes really for everyone, depending on when they started practice. Like Ole Miss held their first practice as a team on the field yesterday. Today is their media day. Ole Miss is going to have their media day today. So I'll grab some of that, and then we'll hear some of what they said on tomorrow's show. Others have been practicing a little longer. I know like Auburn and Tennessee are two SEC teams that started like earlier than everybody else. Alabama started practice on Thursday. State started practice on Friday. So you get it's kind of alternating different schedules for different schools. But for the most part, they all are operating under the same NCAA rules at the same time regarding whether you can have full pad tackle, full speed tackle practices, or whether you got to just go other stuff. Because the NCAA is trying to take contact out of the game as much as they can. So with 3 days of it, you had the first two, Friday, Saturday for State, were helmets only. Okay, so it's, they got stuff on, but it's basically shorts, a jersey, you're wearing it like a shirt with a number on it, and a helmet. That's the only padding you have. And they do just a little bit of drills that involve physical contact, but it's nothing really physical because they're protecting everybody, right? Well, 2 days of that, you can only see so much. And, like somebody said to me, this was Saturday night. Somebody said to me, "Hey, Matt, I heard that the offense was really, the receivers were really dominating the DBs in practice or whatever." And I was like, well, hold on now. One of the things a defense that it has to its advantage is the physical part of the game, the hitting and the intimidating and the tackling and the knocking guys off routes and stuff. Well, when you don't have pads on, you can't do any of that. So it's like you can't have, whether it's 2 or 3 days or whatever it is, of no full contact and come away from it knowing whether one side is dominating the other or not. That's just, it's made up is what that is. So, I said that in the first podcast, is everything that's in there is in the context of, I think it was Coach Kroom that one time that called it the underwear Olympics, where you just shorts and t-shirts and at that part of practice. And the real football doesn't happen until you're totally padded up and you start having drills that involve guys running full speed, running into each other. Because every time you get into that part of practice, certain guys will elevate, certain guys will not, and will do the opposite, take a step back for different reasons. And then you really start to get a feel for who can do what against game-like stuff. For instance, let's say you're running routes, what they call pass skeleton. You don't have the guys on the line of scrimmage. It's just linebackers, DBs versus quarterbacks and receivers. I guess like 7-on-7. Okay. And if you have that drill and you don't have pads on or anything like that, and let's say the slot receiver is coming across the middle, a shallow cross, and there's linebackers all over the place, but he's running across the middle, shallow cross. He knows he's not going to get hit. They're not going to light him up. The ball's thrown to him in the middle. He just catches it and turns and kind of steps around the linebacker, and they chase each other. They're going through the drills. Somebody watching from 50 yards away may go, boy, they sure are completing a lot of passes. That guy, he's whipping. They're whipping him. Well, tell you what, come back in a week. Let's put on full pads from head to toe. It's now 11-on-11. We're actually playing football, okay? And now that receiver coming across the middle knows, hey, if the ball is high and I raise my arms, I may get broken ribs because they can hit us, even though it's my teammates, a full speed scrimmage. Now does he catch the ball? Now does he run the same route across the middle? When he does catch the ball, what does he do after it? He turns. They don't just chase each other. He turns around and ducks because, bam, here's a guy who's about 30 pounds heavier than him trying to earn a starting spot on defense, who lights him up. So that's when real football starts to happen, okay? I think we all know that. Just illustrating it for you just a little bit. Hey, a couple things on the live stream, too, in regards to that. Somebody on YouTube said, hey, Matt, I'm hearing that Pickering is, looking behind the curve. Do you think he can end up getting back to where he was in 2019, or has time or has that time gone? No, I didn't just watch him every snap, but I've seen him out at practice. He looks good to me. All those big guys, it's a matter of getting into football shape. Some are in a little better shape than others coming in, but I hadn't noticed anything. Seen him out there going through all the drills just like everybody else. Roshana on Facebook says, I saw the offensive line coach say that Charles Cross is a no-nonsense kind of guy. He's about his business. I love to hear that. Let me tell you about Charles Cross. All right, so he wears number 67 playing left tackle, which is obviously a hugely important position, right? And he's a projected very high draft pick, and for a reason. He was a 5-star recruit, I believe, coming out of high school. The thing was he picked up steam as a recruit late in his high school career because nobody really knew about him because he was thin. He was kind of skinny for an offensive lineman in high school. But he goes to like a jamboree, and there's people there and coaches there, and they're like, whoa, who is that guy? Then he goes to one of those like all-American combine deals. Well, he's just blocking everybody. He's this fast, nimble, long offensive lineman who all he's got to do is put on weight. So his stock goes up. He goes to state. He played as a freshman, learning the position. Well, last year, if you think about it, 2020, he and everybody else, they didn't have the full spring and summer off-season lifting and conditioning program leading up to fall camp. Nobody did. So you miss out on all that. Well, this year they've had it. And let me tell you something. There's a lot of guys who you can look at and go, well, he's obviously been in the weight room. And Charles Cross is one of them. When you walk out to the practice field, you look around, there's a lot of, in the SEC, every team has a lot of impressive, physically impressive guys before they ever even take a snap. He's one that he goes walking by and everybody goes, who is that guy? He is your prototypical Southeastern Conference offensive lineman. He is massive. And he is not fat at all. And he runs really well and moves really well for a guy who now is playing over 300 pounds. Long arms. In some of the drills they did do in pass pro today that I saw, he just kind of does whatever he wants to do. Like, he's the man. And doesn't have to say anything. I'm saying I'm about this close to buying a number 67 jersey. He wears 67. I couldn't be more impressed with that guy. All right, just getting started. More texts and comments coming up. Stick around.
When it's more than just your lawn, it's just...
After these messages, we'll be right back.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
Jeans do come true. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt. Just answer the questions. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Answer the questions. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their no bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C Spire, went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one and got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out, okay? And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
A lot of people in the equipment world, you know, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, but this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy Bird's Eye.
Yes, always look for this Bird's Eye Bird, your guarantee of top quality frozen food. And your big Bird's Eye buy this week is Bird's Eye Orange Juice. Easy, you can serve it in a minute. Thrifty, it will save you money. Orchard fresh and delicious.
59.com and on your radio on ESPN 105.9. The Zone.
All right, back with you. Get your comments, texts, phone calls in here. We do have the countdown of 100 teams continuing. All right, and so if you're new to the show, you wonder what that is. We started way back in May doing 100 teams, college football teams, in 100 days leading up to the start of the football season. And the date we're counting down to is Saturday, September the 4th. That's the first big full Saturday of college football, so we started 100 days out from that. We are today, let me double check this and make sure I'm right about this. But I believe we are today 26 days away from Saturday, September the 4th. Where's my countdown? We were 26. Yep, 26. Okay, so we're going to have 3 teams on the countdown today. We'll do 28, which would have been Saturday, 27, which would have been yesterday, and then today's team, which is 26. They're all from Power 5 conferences. So we'll hit that, listen to fight songs, and all that jazz coming up. Also, you are much, when I say, you're counting it down to, we're doing a countdown to September 4th, but the games actually start before that. The first FBS ball game that is scheduled is Saturday, August the 28th. Okay, so a week ahead of that, right? So the last Saturday of August. So what do we have? I mean, we don't have long. Just a little over 2 weeks, you'll be watching college football, meaningful snaps for wins and loss records. The ones that I can see, you have, looks like 5 different FBS games on Saturday, August 28th. I don't see times released for all of them, though. The ones we do know, on that Saturday, August 28th, on ESPN, big ESPN, at 2:30 Central, you're going to have Hawaii at UCLA. I mean, 12:30 Pacific. So it'll be noon game out there, but it'll be at UCLA hosting Hawaii. It'll be the first, that'll be one of the first televised games. The first televised game of the year is going to be that same day, August 28th, on Fox at noon Central, Nebraska at Illinois. Okay. And then you have some others that we don't have times for them yet. You're going to have that same day on the 28th, UTEP at New Mexico State. You have UConn at Fresno State, and you have Southern Utah at San Jose State. Those are on the 28th. But be reminded, okay, let's just say you are at home going to watch some college football. Maybe you're going to watch Hawaii at UCLA on ESPN, 2:30 on the 28th. Just know, and we told you this last week, that same day on the 28th on ESPN2, you'll have a live television broadcast of Madison Ridgeland Academy, MRA, hosting Oakville, Tennessee. Oakville High School from, is it Oakville? It's Oak something. Oakmont, Oak Ridge, Oakville. Something, Tennessee, from Murfreesboro. And that one will be on
Oakwood.
Oakwood. That makes a lot of sense.
It's going to be Oakland.
Oh, it's Oakland. Is that it, Oakland? Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I looked at the wrong one. It's Oakland.
Okay, Oakland.
Oakland High School.
from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Okay, so that'll be on that same day. It'd be nice, wouldn't it? It's about the same time. I think 2 o'clock kickoff is what they scheduled for MRA and Oakland. So it'll be on ESPN2, and then 2:30 you get Hawaii, UCLA, and just go back and forth. Or maybe you're one of those fancy people that does picture-in-picture and you have really good eyes. I am one of those. I got to flip. Or, maybe one on TV, one on the iPad. One of those. And then also, so as far as watching, excuse me, as far as watching NFL preseason games, you have some more of those this week. Of course, they started it last week, had the Hall of Fame game with the Cowboys and the Steelers. This week is technically preseason week 1 for everyone. So Thursday night, the preseason games are going to be Washington at New England, preseason game on NFL Network. Steelers and Eagles will play preseason game Thursday night, but we don't have a TV network for that. Friday, this coming Friday the 13th. Hey, Friday the 13th. You're going to have Cowboys at the Cardinals. That'll be on NFL Network late Friday night. And then also Friday, you get Titans at Falcons. And the early, dinner time preseason game on Thursday night is going to be Bills-Lions in Detroit. That'll be on NFL Network. And then Saturday, a whole bivvy, a whole sack full of NFL preseason games on Saturday, including your Saints. Yeah, so the Saints preseason game will be this coming Saturday night, 6 Central up in Baltimore. It's Saints at Ravens. Preseason game. I don't see television for that one. Chiefs are at the 49ers on Saturday. Bears host the Dolphins. These are all preseason games. Bears-Dolphins on NFL Network at noon. Then NFL Network in the afternoon, you get Broncos-Vikings. Marquise Spencer, first-year player, draft pick out of Mississippi State with the Broncos, trying to make their team. And then Saturday night, the Jaguars hosting the Browns. And so maybe you get your first look at Urban Meyer's Jaguars teams and see if Tebow plays and Trevor Lawrence and all those guys Saturday night on the NFL Network. And then you get some more. Let's see, you get a late one, Chargers-Rams. And then Sunday, you're actually going to have Sunday a noon preseason game on the NFL Network, Panthers and Colts up in Indianapolis. Just thought I'd point that out for you. Now, I got to get to something here. Y'all feel free to text me on the Country Pleasing text line. It's 885-ESPN, 601 number, 885-ESPN. Jeremy texted me and said, watching while recovering, been watching your breakdowns of transfers. I'm fired up about this season. Well, I hope you're doing well, Jeremy. I don't know what you're recovering from, but I'm glad that I can maybe help get you through it in some shape, form, fashion. So hang in there. Hang in there. We're talking about Philip Prince, our buddy from Prince Oil Company. Never saw a three-pointer he didn't like. And Nick texted and said his daughter can shoot the lights out, by the way. Yeah, I've heard that she's a really good basketball player. Okay, over here on the live stream on Facebook, Chris said, hey, Matt, I saw where Jack Abraham did not practice this weekend. Do you know why? Has he dropped on the depth chart to number 3 or number 4? Yeah, he's not practicing. He's got an undisclosed injury or something, that is keeping him out of practice. There's lots of rumors flying around about what it is. I've heard stuff behind the scenes, but you don't have anything confirmed by the team. It's a deal where he just has not practiced. And apparently whatever it is, he's trying to get himself in a position to be able to go out and practice. But, by virtue of missing the time and all those reps in these early practices, I just think it puts a greater distance between Will Rogers, who was already ahead, and Abraham, assuming he can get back out there and get going. But he has not practiced so far to this point. We were talking about Charles Cross earlier, and Sven was reminding us that Charles Cross is the third highest rated recruit that State's ever had. Who would the others be, Sven? Not to send you down a rabbit hole of looking all that up. I'm just curious if you know. I don't know. Jason remembers Philip. Yeah, he says, I went to East Central with Philip. He could shoot the ball. No doubt. He was a heck of a ball player. Great guy, too. Great guy. Dave commented on the Facebook live stream. And by the way, sorry I missed you guys on the live stream on Friday. Had a computer that decided it wanted to reboot just before the show. Dave said, I am not, nor have ever been or will be an Ole Miss fan, so this is hard, but proud of Ole Miss football team for being 100% vaccinated. And then he put in parentheses, that left a bad taste. Dave, is it that hard to compliment somebody? Is your rival that hard to compliment your rival? Yeah, hats off to them. If a team is able to do that, you just put it behind you. It's a whole lot less hoops you have to jump through, is my understanding, throughout the rest of the year as far as testing and protocols and all those kinds of things. But I don't go through those myself, so I can't speak to exactly what they are. Handyman says Philip Prince's name was the Prince of Threes. Now that's great. Played against him. Brooksy says Jeffrey Simmons, highest ranked signee in state history. No, Chris Jones? Okay, so it might have been Chris Jones. Brooksy said also, okay, Chris Jones 1, and then Jeffrey Simmons number 2, highest ranked recruits. He says, I also lost state title game to Mr. Philip Prince. Managed to still be friends. Now look, somebody beats you in a state title game, it takes a lot of humility to then, come back around and be friends with that person. Yeah. Lynn saying that there was some reports out there that you got a concussion for Jack Abraham. Well, yeah, you hear some of that stuff, and there may be some truth to it. I mean, things like that, honestly, you're kind of at the mercy of the school or whoever to confirm it. But normally, concussion type stuff, they're not going to talk about that, and that very well could be what it is. You hope not, but it very well could be what it is. All right, we'll do the first team on the countdown of 100 teams next. It's from the Big Ten. Wonder who that is. Stick around.
There's a lot of noise when it comes to...
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Arrived today. Jeans do come true. Thank you, Blue Delta. Yeah, jeans do come true. That's what the bag says. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Raw denim jeans, custom fit, hand tailored in Tupelo, Mississippi, my hometown. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit, design a jean, and before you know it, you'll be addicted. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase. Again, that's if you listen to me, you can use discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase, and at checkout, you're going to get a 10% discount off your order. So I just went online, ordered them, BlueDeltaJeans.com a couple weeks ago. Went in, I didn't go get measured. I just entered, what I knew about myself. I just answered the questions, and here they are at my doorstep a couple weeks later. Nice. Yeah, Blue Delta. Nice. I'm happy. I've known the Blue Delta team for years, and I'm thrilled to have these guys on as a sponsor of this show. Blue Delta's virtual tailor is a fun and easy way to get yourself into the best fitting pair of jeans you're ever going to own. Bet you never thought you'd get a butt shot out of me, huh? How about that? Just answer the questions and they fit absolutely perfectly. They couldn't fit better. So just go online, BlueDeltaJeans.com, answer the questions. It's amazing how they do it. They will fit perfectly. You're not going to find better material and better feeling pants, period, anywhere. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Use this code Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. I promise you that. And I know that you are going to love them too. Make sure you use the code. And remember, jeans do come true.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Let me tell you about an ice cream can't be beat.
The very best tasting you can eat.
It's Meadow, 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 Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. Go to your ice cream man today and here's the word that you should say. Oh, give me Meadow, Meadow, Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. And remember, folks, Meadow Gold
is mighty good.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
6 o'clock, dinner time. Thank goodness for Jell-O instant pudding.
Yes, thank goodness for Jell-O instant pudding. The terrific busy day dessert you can make at the very last minute. See how quick and easy. Just add it to cold milk and beat it up. That's all. By the time you're ready to eat it, it's all ready for you. Jell-O instant pudding, made by the famous Jell-O folks. So creamy, so nourishing, so delicious. No other instant pudding is quite the same. Stock your shelves with all 7 flavors. The good busy day dessert. Jell-O instant pudding.
Show on the 50,000 watt sports powerhouse. ESPN 105.9 The Zone and streaming. Check it out online now at thezone1059.com.
Well, there was a comment somewhere about recruiting rankings, and this is how it happens. All right, everybody's got the details but me, but I'm happy to pass them along to you because apparently, there's a lot of folks interested in this. Okay. Sven commented on the YouTube live stream, and he said he thinks Charles Cross is the 3rd highest recruit State ever had. And then Brooksy weighed in, on it. And he said, we were talking about Jeffrey Simmons, Chris Jones, trying to figure it out. He said he thought Chris Jones was number 2 overall the year that Robert Kimdichie was number 1. And then he said Jeffrey and Chris were both number 18 overall in the 24/7 composite. Chris was also number 2 in the 247 only rankings. Okay. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Because I started to say these recruiting services, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but it's my understanding they don't all have the same rankings, right? Last time I looked at them, which has been a long time ago, like they do their own thing. And so you'd have maybe different recruiting analysts working for different companies that would disagree about a particular player where they should be ranked or something. And so, I'll just say this. Whoever thought the most of Chris Jones turned out to be right. You can see it in college. I mean, he was just raw and, would just bulldoze everybody and everything. And then you see him in person and you're like, how does a guy this size move around like that? And it's kind of the way Charles Cross is starting to be for State or whatever. Jared, though, he sent me a screenshot from Gene's page, which is a part of 24/7 now. And maybe I think what he's saying is that it is the top ranked recruits that State has ever gotten. And at the top of the thing he sent me now, if that's what you're sending me, Jared, I'm just going to read it off. I can't, back it up or whatever, but I'm just saying this is what you sent me. That Delwan Robinson from Hernando was a 5-star, highest ranked, 99.34 or whatever. Chris Jones, the next highest, a 5-star, 99 something. And then Jarius Norwood, number 3, a 5-star, .9906. Darren Williams, the safety, was the fourth. So those, according to that screenshot, that would be the top recruits in state history. So we may have settled that. According to that particular recruiting service. Over here on Facebook, real quick, Gail said, hey, Matt, I moved my cheerleader granddaughter into Cresswell Hall yesterday, where I lived as a freshman a few years ago at Hale State. I cannot imagine. With a boy, it's one thing, okay? Call me whatever, but, I have a daughter, so maybe it hits closer to home. I just can't imagine going through the process of moving my daughter into a dorm and then driving off and leaving her there. Can't imagine doing that right now. I don't even want to think about it. Yeah, Cresswell. It's right next to the dorm I lived in as a freshman. Hawthorne, which is right across the street from another freshman. There was a girls' dorm, Rice, right across the street, right? Rice Hall. Any of that stuff still there? I know Hawthorne's still there. I guess Cresswell is. Is Rice still there? That's one thing I did notice yesterday. The family was with me. We were on campus, and it's like, where all these people come from? School not started yet. She's like, they're all moving in, getting ready for school. There's people everywhere. And it's getting busy. They're selling meals. Restaurants starting to shake and move. Moving some food, selling a few plates. Yeah, so it's good to see. It's good for the college towns, man, when kids come back for school, for sure. No doubt about it. All right. As promised, we're going to do 3 of these today because we got 3 teams on our countdown of 100 teams in 100 days. Let's do it. First one.
100 teams. 100 days.
Yeah. Little college football music for you. Well, here it is, straight out of the Big Ten. Team number 28, you will recognize the fight song, most likely. Michigan, the Wolverines. Yep, that's hail to the victors. Michigan led by Jim Harbaugh. This will be his 7th year as the head coach at Michigan. They went 2-4 last year in the COVID season. Did y'all know that? 2-4. 2 wins, 4 losses. That's what 2-4 is, as if you needed me to tell you that. Hey, and they 2-4 didn't play postseason or anything like that at Michigan. 2 years ago, they played Alabama in the Citrus Bowl, lost 35-16. That's respectable. It is a great fight song. Ain't no way around it. The Michigan Wolverines. They beat Minnesota in the first game last year, 49-24. Oh, boy, here they come. And then week 2 lost to their rival Michigan State by a field goal, 27-24, in a game that Michigan was 22-point favorites in. They lose. Then they lost to Indiana. It was a close game. I say close game. Close enough considering Indiana was a really good football team last year as long as their quarterback was healthy. Got killed by Wisconsin. They lost by 38 points to Wisconsin. They beat Rutgers in 3 overtimes. Rutgers. And then lost to Penn State by 10 points at the end of the year. That Michigan was just good and terrible last year. That's what they were. You remember Joe Milton played quarterback for them a good bit last season and threw for 1,000 yards, 4 touchdowns, 4 picks in those games, and then transferred out. He's at Tennessee now. Okay, so played for Michigan last year. He's at Tennessee. And they returned their top rusher, but they lose. They return some stuff on defense, but they don't return a whole lot on offense. And they'll play a new quarterback. Michigan will open the season on September the 4th hosting Western Michigan. They also play Washington out of conference this year. Hey, Bill.
Yo!
How about some famous alums from Michigan? What do you got for me?
Well, one of our favorite voices, James Earl Jones.
James, you mean Terrence Mann?
Ray, people will come, Ray.
Went to Michigan?
Yep.
They'll come to Iowa for reasons they can't even fathom.
James Earl Jones, born in Mississippi.
Of course, the GOAT went to school there, Tom Brady.
Brady, yeah.
Clarence Darrow, very famous lawyer. Michael Phelps, swimmer. He's the fish.
Okay, I didn't know that. I did not know that.
Yeah. Lucy Liu went to school there. Iggy Pop.
Okay.
Yeah, Mike Wallace.
Oh, the news guy.
Yeah, the news guy. Yeah, his son now does the news too. Charles Woodson, Branch Rickey went to school there.
I interrupted. Did you say David Allen Greer, the comedian?
Yeah, David Allen Greer. Yeah.
That guy is underratedly hilarious.
No kidding. Ann B. Davis from the Brady Bunch went to school there.
Oh, okay.
Derek Jeter, Rich Eisen, Barry Larkin, Dave Portnoy, Jim Harbaugh, of course.
Yeah.
Larry Elder, who may be the next governor of California.
Yeah.
Bo Schembechler, also Tim Hardaway, Duncan Robinson, and Madonna went to school there.
Oh,
and
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And this very funny lady also went to school there.
Rosanna Dana. Mr. Richard Fader from Fort Lee, New Jersey writes in and says, Dear Rosanna Dana, last Thursday I quit smoking. Now I'm depressed, I gained weight, my face broke out, I'm nauseous, I'm constipated, my feet swelled, my gums are bleeding, my sinuses are clogged, I got heartburn, I'm cranky, and I have gas. What should I do? Mr. Fader, you sound like a real attractive guy. You belong in New Jersey.
And of course, is Gilda Radner.
Gilda Radner, the great Gilda Radner, Rosanna Dana on Saturday Night Live. That is fantastic. You know, and I mean, it all started off with James Earl Jones. And we got Tom Brady, and we got Madonna in there. Out of all those mentioned, though, I like James Earl Jones the best. Good stuff. Michigan. Somebody said, all right, Sven said, if Harbaugh doesn't beat Ohio State and win the division this year, he's gone. I mean, it'll be his 7th year. And, you know, it was COVID last year, and they sort of bottomed out. You know, he has not replicated the Stanford, San Francisco 49ers success at Michigan. He just hasn't done it. And I guess Ohio State has a whole lot to do with that, right? Yeah, it's just not working out. So you better get after it. The whole having camps all over the country and coming to Pearl and stuff, that was fun while it lasted, though, right? It just didn't do anything. Didn't help. All right, that wraps up hour number 1 in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Hour 2 coming up right around the corner.
There's a lot of noise.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
We are about to have a fire and cook some sausage. A country pleasing sausage is outstanding whether you cook it over a fire or in the house. Cook some of this right here. It's green onion flavor. You see that? But this right here is my favorite, the maple flavor. And this is great for breakfast. It's awesome cooking it in the house because it makes the whole house smell good. Oh yeah. Let's eat country pleasing sausage, the best, hands down. If you go to countrypleasing.com, you can actually order this and deliver it to your house. Country pleasing sausage, hands down, the best. Trust me. Davini Equipment, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson, Highway 51 in Madison. Hey y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their no bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if, who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C Spire, went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out, okay? And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Jeans do come true. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit, design a jean, and before you know it, you'll be addicted. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase, BlueDeltaJeans.com. I just entered, what I knew about myself. I just answered the questions, and here they are. Nice. Yeah, Blue Delta. Just answered the questions, and they fit absolutely perfectly. They couldn't fit better. So just go online, BlueDeltaJeans.com, answer the questions, use this code. Use the code, you're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn, and I know that you are going to love them too.
Cash Rewards credit card. You can choose to earn 3% cash back on online shopping, which could increase to 5.25% as a preferred rewards member. Visit bankofamerica.com/more rewarding and apply now. The essentials have never felt more rewarding. Copyright 2021 Bank of America Corporation.
WRKS Pickett's Jackson.
Time.
It's time to get back to the Matt Wyatt Show.
Live in the studio.
Online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
Hey, just like that. Hour number, what is it? What hour is it? Number 2? Oh, it's the second hour. Hey, Bill, I hear myself. Or is that my headphones? It may not be you. Hang on. Well, whatever it is, it's fine now.
I think it was me.
Well, that could have been me. I don't know. I know this. I was distracted because I looked over here on Facebook, and there is my good old buddy, old pal I hadn't seen or heard from in a little while, Mr. AI. My friend Alvin Ivy, better known as AI, from Una, Mississippi, said, let's go. What's up, Alvin? Good to see you. Good to see all y'all on the live stream. Feel free to drop a note, comment. We talked about Michigan a little bit ago in hour number 2 because we had the first of 3 teams today on the countdown of 100 teams in 100 days. They were number 28. Michigan, hail to the victor. Let me ask you this. When you go 2 and 4, what are we hailing? The jokes. Chris said, do you still think it's going to be Harbaugh's last season at Michigan? I mean, shoot, man, I don't know. I'm probably not qualified really to talk a whole lot about their situation. I don't follow it that closely, and I don't know if they will or won't. I just know, 7 years is enough time to either get it done or not, really. And at Michigan, you can. But I don't know the contractual situation either. They may be locked in that way. Surely they're going to be better, right? Surely 2 and 4 and those losses were due to COVID, right? Surely. Don't call me Shirley. All right, so we had Michigan. We're going to have 2 other teams in this hour. That'll be fun. There'll be a lot else to get to. Talk practice and whatnot and things and such. I went to Mississippi State practice over the weekend. We'll try to go some this week. Maybe not today, tomorrow. I don't know if I'll be able to get back, but maybe Wednesday, get down there. I know Wednesday is scheduled to be, I think, the first full speed, full contact, full pads practice. Side note, I know y'all don't want to hear it. Matt's going old guy. Well, listen, let me just throw this in there just so you know where I stand, okay? It is so counterproductive and counterintuitive for the NCAA, and this is presidents across the board and stuff thinking they know, but it's all a political cover your rear end move we're going to legislate. The rules say now you can't practice as much, and you can't wear full pads as much, because if you've got a lot of pads on, then you're going to go out here, pow, 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 hitting each other. And that's going to be that contact we don't want and cause concussions and stuff. Yeah, but let me tell y'all something. Let me let y'all in on a little secret. Listen closely. All these college football teams out here practicing within the rules, quote unquote, not full pads. Guess what they're doing? Pow, 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 hitting each other. Except they're just doing it without full pads, which what are pads for? Protection. That's what the pads do. They protect you from bangs and bruises and injuries. And I'm like, here's another, let me just show you how inept the decision-making is at the NCAA level. Listen to this. We want to prevent concussions. So we're going to take your pads away so that you won't hit each other. Okay. But the NCAA says, keep your helmets on. What? Hold on a minute. Because hey, decision makers, if this is your logic, if this is your apparatus for getting a little contact out of the game, I got an idea. Take the helmets off. See how much contact happens when they're not wearing helmets. You know how stupid that decision is to take all the pads away except the helmets? have helmets, guess what they're going to do? Hit! You just took all the other pads away, protecting knees and butts and ankles and thighs and shoulders. Stupid, man. I'm talking dumb with a capital D. That's what it is. Okay, rant over. Rant over. Sharon on Facebook said, just let them play ball. Just play ball. In regards to Michigan, Jimmy on YouTube says Harbaugh got a pay cut. He only makes $4 million a year now. No more Saban-like money. You can't make Saban-like money if you don't win like Saban, right? Isn't that the whole idea of the market? Tom enjoyed the rant. Okay, glad somebody liked it, Tom. Thank you. Rep Dog on the Country Pleasing text line. 885-ESPN. It's a 601 number. 885-ESPN or 885-3776. Text away. Rep Dog says, after Michigan gets rid of Harbaugh after another mediocre year by their standards, one has to wonder whether Kiffin will have any better success against Ohio State. Well, I mean, and here's the thing about it. You know, Kiffin, hot name, has coached for Saban, and if he had success last year, and if he jumps out there and has a good year this year, there'll be all kinds of, well, depending on what the jobs are, if Michigan, others come open, they'll be tying them to him. He'll either be interested and pursue it, or he won't, and he'll have to tamp that stuff down constantly if they have a good year. Which they should have a good year. There's an experienced team, experience on offense, and got the right quarterback and all that stuff. Yeah, I remember that. Mason from Weston texted, and he said, I sure enjoyed watching the Dogs whoop Michigan down in Jacksonville that year. Fun trip. Yeah, that was the last year of Rich Rodriguez at Michigan in that particular Gator Dan Mullen had that team with Chris Relf. So that was a 2010 regular season. Yeah, that's what it was. It was Dan Mullen's second year. And he had that team at 8 wins in the regular season, and then beating Michigan was their 9th win. And like y'all remember, they didn't just beat Michigan in that Gator Bowl. They ran them out of that stadium. I mean, just whipped them. It was not a contest. Yeah. All right, let's head over to the phone line. Davini Equipment phone. 995-1059. GW on line 1. What's up? Thanks for calling.
Hey, Matt. Nice to talk to you.
You too.
It's kind of funny because having been a D1 linebacker, when I heard you do the underwear Olympics, I almost fell out because I don't call anywhere else, and it's the first time I've ever called here because other folks think they know, but they don't know. And a couple different things. Number one, 5-star recruit. It's funny because I played in front of 3 high school All-Americans when I was in college, and I was all-conference at a different position than what I played. So we don't pay attention to that. You come in highly touted, guess what? You just got a bullseye on your chest, and we're going to knock you out.
Hey, and GW, let me add to that. The phrase, I was talking to a guy at practice yesterday, and we were having a similar conversation, is that what people don't realize is – whether it's 5-star or 2-star, everybody gets to college and it's like they're starting over because there's such a big gap mentally from a maturity standpoint, physically from 18 years old to 24. There's a huge gap there. And even the 5-stars in a lot of ways are starting over.
And a lot of times it's harder for them when they get there and they realize they're not the biggest, dog in the fight.
Yeah,
and they can adapt, and I've watched it time. The best linebacker I ever saw in my life coming in and should have been just washed out. But it is funny, and the concussion thing is a joke to me because they think the helmet, the contact, they don't realize that you get a concussion because your brain keeps going when your head stops really fast and it bangs into the skull. It doesn't matter. And I remember, and I could. Having wide receivers running free and being an inside backer, you know, we pretty much keep our hands off of you. But if you got a little too frisky and, you know, you catch a pass, especially a young guy, and you're just, you know, juking and jiving, like, you know, going through the defense, trust me, next time you came through, pads or no pads, you know, those first 3 or 4 days of practice, you will get laid out. and your wide receiver, Ken Maytosh would look straight at you. He said, dude, don't do that again because they will take your head off. We didn't care. Especially, you know, if you were, you know, a real contributor, but, you know, and fights were every day. And you're younger than me. We had 3 a days, and my freshman year we had 4 a days. And so pads had nothing to do with contact. You know, we'd have our web pad. We always wear our web pads, you know, that you typically had under your shoulder pads. We would always wear those, which meant full contact for us as linebackers. But there was no such thing as no contact.
Yeah, right. There's going to be, well, especially when you let me have my helmet. You know, if you took,
oh yeah,
you know, and okay, so how would you answer this as a linebacker? If they told you we're going to practice without helmets, would it have changed some of that, bumping into each other and still hitting each other? You know, honest answer. Would it?
Would it? It would change how I hit you.
Yeah, it would change a little bit. In other words, like you'd have a busted chin or you break a tooth, as opposed to, like, you know, your forehead having a dent. You know, like from, I guess is what I'm saying.
When you came across, I was going to get hands or shoulder on you or forearms.
Yeah.
Because people, it's so funny because I have this conversation with people. You know, a lot of people in the stands, and this here, just how football crazy it was. I mean, I played, you know, football, but people think they know, but they don't know. You know, because you don't know until you're 240 pounds and you're running a legit 4.6 and have run a 4.5.
Yeah.
What that feels like when that hits you. It's not being a 5'10", 205-pound running back at you know whatever school here, and think you run a 4.6 and you run a 4.9.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different world, and I never am critical of kids. Oh, this kid sucks or that, and I said, really, have you been there? And then they say, well, this coach sucks and he should have played this. I was like, you don't know what went on in practice that week.
That's right.
You know, you're dealing with 18, 19, 20-year-old kids that's got a lot of stuff going through their head, and it's just different. So I just, you know, hey, I respect it. It got me through college. You know, I wouldn't have been able to go to college without it. But it's just funny. And when you said pass scale, I said, once I stop, I'm going to have to call, because most people heard pass scale and they had no clue what that was, and oh my gosh, you had to explain it 7-on-7.
That's right,
so,
7-on-7.
But see, you were a quarterback, so you were always kind of safe too. We had kid gloves with you because y'all were all soft.
Yeah, we were. No, hey, I'm just telling you the truth. We were. You know, because
put that little different colored jersey on, and it was like, oh man, back then in the '80s, before we went to the run and shoot offense with Kevin Gilbride from Houston Oilers and New York Giants and all that. But before then, it was a zero trap option. It was the old, it was Bobby Bowden from Florida State. It was actually his offense coordinator was our head coach. And it was zero trap option. So, you know, you got to run down the line and, you know, dance all that. And, you know, there was occasions that we may not have got the number one quarterback. That second quarterback started, you know, bouncing through like he was something.
Right.
He was going to get laid out. And there was probably a fight was going to ensue, but we didn't care.
Well, and what I was going to say, GW, okay, so like in high school, when I was a, you know, young quarterback, I'm a backup, you know, third string, second string as a young quarterback in high school. I was at a school that at that time we were running the veer. Okay. So, and we had a great little high school quarterback named Johnny Jackson. He ran the veer. He was so good at the reads, and our coaches didn't want him getting hit a whole lot in practice because he was so important to our team. So whenever it was time for the defense to start tackling people, they put me in there running this veer and midline stuff and just teeing off on me. Okay. So even in college, I felt like, you know what, they've got this red jersey on me, but I earned it in high school by being a tackling dummy for about 2 years, in a veer offense. But no, you're right. It is, as a quarterback, if you could have your cake and eat it too, you would get the QBs used to contact also. It's just that it's
You
like
can't risk it.
Yeah, you can't risk it because the depth is so much different at that position, so
Right.
it's understandable. Yeah.
It is, but it like I said, it was nice to hear some of those things because I usually don't say much, and some people will ask me, and I'll give my honest opinion because people will see they'll hear people on the radio and I hear somebody on that show that comes on late in the day that I detest, but and they're talking about it's a cover 2, and I was like there's so much intricacy that goes into cover 2, cover 3, what the shell is, what the technique is of the corners, and I'm like, people are just talking. They'll hear somebody say a 3 technique, and they're like, oh, and I'm like, no, you don't know.
Hey, what bugs me? Everybody has these terms that it's like fingernails on a chalkboard. The one for me, GW, is when I hear like a TV announcer or something go, he threw into double coverage or he threw into triple coverage. And I'm thinking to myself, brother, triple coverage doesn't exist. It just happened to be a lot of people in there. There ain't no such thing as double or triple coverage.
And there's and really there's no double coverage because double coverage you would think like 2 people following the same guy. I said no, the way they set the defense is they bracketed that guy and they've just got help over the top and they might be walling with a backer on the inside. His technique, the way he's got his body is going to kind of funnel it to the corner if it's cover 3, but if it's cover 2, cover 2, I've always loved cover 2, except when you get that, you don't get a good jam off that corner, and next thing you know, he gets between, and you're licking your lips when you see that. When that guy gets when he gets that outside release on the corner, because belly button to the ball is what your teeth, that corner's having, and he gets that outside release, you're licking your lips. Yeah,
because I'm thinking I got that whole shot.
Safety can't get there.
He can't get there.
And then if your guy catches it and makes one move, he's gone.
He's gone. That's it. That's why they call him a safety. He better be. He's the last one. But that's it. There's so much of those little things, and even when I'm, looking at plays or may do a video about a play, a lot of times I try my best, GW, to be I walk right up to the line of diagnosing what it is without actually for sure because. Number one, I wasn't in the huddle. And sometimes if you see it on film and you're like, well, they lined up this way, it's pretty obviously cover 2. Well, there are times when they may be lined up wrong, and so you don't know all those things. You have to kind of be careful when you're diagnosing. So I'm like you. I see and hear so much stuff out here, and it's people, they're giving their best effort to try to talk about it and stuff. But like you said, they don't know because they didn't have the fortune of going through it and sitting in that film room for 5 years with those paid professionals,
Oh, yeah.
Or falling asleep in the film room.
No, well, you get that whiteboard eraser thrown at your head with that one. But it's funny because everybody says, well, I watch a lot of football. Like, no, you watch a lot of commentators and listen to those guys. When you and I watch film, they don't realize when players watch film, it goes from it'll show the scoreboard for down and distance, and then it'll show the play, and then the play's over, and the next thing you see is scoreboard for the next play.
That's it.
We don't get all those stuff. So you watch 3 hours of film, man. You watch a lot of ball.
You watch a lot of it.
And you watch that one play that you see 2 replays on. Oh, we watched it 50, and we watched every offensive lineman, where their hands were, where their feet were they rocking back a little bit and be able to see past. And I had a great nose guard. It was phenomenal because, he would wave his hand backwards because he could read offensive linemen so well. And I could tell he knew if somebody was going to pull, if they were going to pass set, or if, they were going to lay their ears back and come at you.
Yeah. Hey,
and he would tell you.
You'll find I've got about a minute left, GW, but you'll find this interesting. I was having this conversation yesterday with a former Division I head coach. And we were talking about the progression of offenses and how it all changed and how you see so many teams now that are running play action throws, but the protection includes and the play action includes a pulling guard. Okay? So like we're pulling guards to even convince you even more not to come flying through here because you got linebackers reading linemen. And so it was just a heck of a thing to kind of look at it in the perspective of what it used to be like for us when we played, that you've got play action stuff where you're designing it where you're not going to have to block the linebacker because he's not going to come because the guard pulls, because that's what he's reading. It's just crazy how far it's come. Hey, I hope you will call me back.
You have the I shall, but you get that little waggle when you get that little G-scheme pull on the waggle on that boot. So you get the same thing there. That kind of
true.
If you concentrate too much on the guard, you see that waggle and that your near side guard pulls out, and you start following him and realize he's got a deeper arc because he's picking up the defensive end. He's really not pulling, and then all of a sudden you're in no man's land, and
that's
they're
it.
running something right behind you.
And you better be real fast or really experienced, one or the other. Hey.
You better be able to pray real well.
That's it. I really appreciate the call. Thank you. Don't be a stranger. Call me back, GW. I love talking X's and O's. And he played linebacker. You know the most underrated part of linebacker, really defense in general, that unless you played it, you'll never understand it, is how hard it is to see what's happening in front of you. To see the ball, just to see the ball and who's got it and where they're going. It's hard. Some of them, man, I don't know how they play that position. I enjoyed that. Y'all stick around.
There's a lot of...
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy Bird's Eye.
Yes, always look for this Bird's Eye Bird, your guarantee of top quality frozen food. And your big Bird's Eye buy this week is Bird's Eye Orange Juice. Easy, you can serve it in a minute. Thrifty, it will save you money. Orchard fresh and delicious.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy Bird's Eye.
Now, if you know your oats and want to feel your oats and taste how good an oat cereal can be, well, you'll go for Cheerios. Great way to start the day with really great eating. That's Cheerios, one of the few foods made from oats. The tasty cereal grain everyone should have at breakfast. Crisp and golden, as only a toasted oat cereal can be. And nourishing? Why, a Cheerios breakfast gives you the power protein that grown-ups need to help stay in trim and youngsters need to grow on. Toasted oat goodness, toasted oat flavor, a delicious power breakfast. That's Cheerios.
Let me tell you about an ice cream can't be beat.
The very best tasting you can eat.
It's Meadow, 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 Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. Go to your ice cream man today, and here's the word that you should say. Oh, give me Meadow, Meadow, Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. And remember, folks, Meadow Gold
is mighty good.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
6 o'clock, dinner time. Thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding.
Yes, thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding. The terrific busy day dessert you can make at the very last minute. See how quick and easy. Just add it to cold milk and beat it up. That's all. By the time you're ready to eat it, it's all ready for you. Jell-O Instant Pudding, made by the famous Jell-O folks. So creamy, so nourishing, so delicious. No other instant pudding is quite the same. Stock your shelves with all 7 flavors. The good busy day dessert. Jell-O Instant Pudding.
station is ready, sir.
Live online at thezone1059.com and
Keep your radio turned on
to ESPN 105.9, The Zone.
All right, let's go. Rolling right along. Rolling. We'll have some more teams coming up later in the hour on the countdown of 100 teams in 100 days. 100! That's all coming up. Yeah, you had the report out there about Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin, their team having a 100% vaccination rate. That's good on them. And then a story out there, too, about, Lane Kiffin, he's going to preach accountability to his team. So just to prove a point, he went out here and lost 30 pounds. You can read all about that online. Like losing weight like that is always, after you've done it, you start to think it was easy. Does that make sense? Because it's behind you. But when you're going through it, I can tell you it's not easy because it takes a long time. Every day, some consistency, every day. And you just have to be committed to build it up over a long period of time. And then it happens. And then you look back and you're like, it wasn't too bad. So the key for Lane is going to be to understand it was tough and not go back to, yeah, sure, give me the cheesecake. Bring it. Yeah, bring another piece. This kind. I'll eat it. Just put it down here. You don't want to get back into that. Or like me, you want to, it's 8 o'clock at night, you want a snack, and you're eating handfuls of goldfish crackers. That's bad. Don't do that. That'll put it right back on. So he's going to have to avoid that. Anybody who's ever lost weight and they're risking to gain some back, you always have this one thing that's sort of just your hang up. For some people, it might be sweet tea or it might be sweets. Others, I don't know. For me, I'll just be honest with you. It's gallon cartons of goldfish crackers. That's my hang up, man. And if it's around, I have a hard time not eating it. Okay, let's get some text messages here on the Country Pleasing text line. 885-ESPN is the number to text. 601-885-ESPN or 885-3776. This one's a little longer, but I'm going to read it here from Green Okra, who says, back in my former life as a sports writer, I was a beat writer for Tennessee football. When I covered Tennessee's national title game against Florida State, I missed a conference call with Bobby Bowden because of heart surgery on my dad. Bowden somehow found that out and scheduled a private call with me, which turned out to be mostly him asking me questions about my dad. Later in Tempe, at the first press conference when I stood and ID'd myself to ask a question, Coach Bowden immediately stopped me and asked about my dad in front of the entire press corps. Just before the game, someone from my hotel arrived at my door with a delivery. It was an FSU helmet signed to my dad from Coach Bowden. Today, the helmet sits on a bookshelf in my son's room. I will forever be grateful for the goodness in Coach Bowden's heart. What a great story, Green Okra. Thank you for sharing that. That is just phenomenal. Yeah, Coach Bowden passed away this weekend at 91 years old, and he certainly had an impact. What a great story. Thanks for sharing that. Louvier texted and said, in regards to, what is this? Okay, we were talking about, if Michigan makes a coaching change, they come after Kiffin, and Louvier said, Ole Miss fans should decide now. Keep Kiffin or get Arch Manning. You can't have both. Why do you say that, Louvier? Why can't they have both, honestly? Scott, okay, when GW called in, the former linebacker, he said, last caller was 100% on point, no question. Yeah, I mean, you can tell, Scott, the difference between a guy who really went through it. I mean, you can certainly tell, and you can tell he went through it. Real Eric was wanting to know where he played. GW, if you're listening, we got people wanting to know where it was that you played in college. And I probably should have asked that, but I got so neck deep. We were talking little X's and O's. The time went by way too fast, way too quickly. How about this? Mason and Wesson said, "This guy sure as heck beats the crap out of your other callers, Matt." Well, thanks I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, I did see this. Jay in Baltimore says, I'm not sure if you saw this, but Kendall Rogers confirmed the national champion Diamond Dogs will be opening the season at home with the Dirtbags of Long Beach State, who took two of three in the road series back in 2020. They had a heck of a series out there in 2020, early on, before it, of course, got the whole season got banged and sent back home. Yeah, but you're going to start the year hosting the Dirtbags of Long Beach State. That is going to be fun. I did see that. And what did he say here? He goes, can you remind me how they schedule games with the East opponents? My understanding is that I don't know the rotation on that East stuff. Jay, somebody brought that up a couple of days ago, and I thought, well, I'm going to ask. I haven't asked yet, so I don't know exactly how they do it. Hey, though. Hey, since you're bringing up baseball there, Mr. Jay in Baltimore, since you're bringing it up, this is a good jumping off point. I wanted to share something with you. Hey, Bill.
Hey, Matt.
Way back in 1988, that's terrible. I mean, it was a long time ago, but Lord, it doesn't feel like it was that long ago. Anyway, I thought you'd enjoy this. On this day, August the 9th, 1988, after 5,687 consecutive contests during the day at the Chicago Northside Ballpark dating back to 1914, the first official Major League night game takes place at Wrigley Field with the hometown Cubs taking a 6-4 win over the Mets.
Yeah, that was they celebrated that last night by the White Sox and the Cubs playing there at Wrigley.
At Wrigley. Night game.
ABC last night. They played last night.
Well, here's what we all need to learn. It originally was scheduled, the first night game at Wrigley, for 8/8/88. That would have been yesterday, August the 8th. But the reason this says the first official Major League night game at Wrigley Field was on August the 9th because the one on the 8th got rained out after 3 innings.
Yeah, it did.
So they started it on the 8th. It got rained out, so the first official night game didn't take place until the 9th. This is what I was going to share with you. When they were going to play it on the 8th, they started the WGN broadcast with Harry Carey and Bill Murray in the booth.
Hello again, everybody. Harry Carey at Wrigley Field on this noteworthy night indeed. 8/8/88. That's the date. And this bunch for you, Bill Murray.
Thank you, Ray. I've been dying under these lights until you handed me this thing.
It's such a pleasure to see you, especially on a noteworthy event like this one.
Well, I don't know how I feel about night baseball. It's great in the minor leagues, but it's someplace else to go in town besides your restaurant, which is a good thing.
You know, how's your mother, by the way?
My mother is, she's off the booze, real pretty, but she's doing really well. She's doing great.
That bit you put on when I was sick and you were on and did such a great job, the bit you did about your mother, among other things, I think it should be a special cassette. You ought to sell about 10 million of them.
Well, I've got 200,000 of my own, which I'm willing to unload for some sort of a price. But my mother really wants too big a percentage, so I'm keeping them in the garage right now at home.
That's great. Okay, so they didn't get to have the full game.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, everybody. They didn't get to have the game on the 8th, and instead they played the full game on the 9th, and this was the intro of the game on the 9th with Vin Scully and Joe Garagiola.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Wrigley Field and the big block party in town. And as far as the baseball gods are concerned, we actually have some blue skies. We have sunlight splashed on the rooftops along the lakefront, and so far, so good.
And with all the talk about the lights, they're not doing much good right now, Vin. It's still pretty light.
It's about as light as it would be anyway, so the lights will not take effect for at least...
Man, could Vince Scully paint the picture?
Man. Yeah, there's nobody better at that than him. Man. I mean, just... You know, he was the best. Now, get this. So they had a guy who was 91 years old at the time named Harry Grossman, who was a lifelong Cubs fan, to push the button. And he gave a little speech before he pushed the button to turn the lights on.
Can I have your attention for just one moment? I'm very proud and privileged and very happy to be chosen the one who's going to turn on the lights. I'll be more happier if all the fans will join me like a Harry Carey, 1, 2, 3, and then say, let there be lights.
All right, and so he did this. Bill, this guy was born in 1897.
Deserve it, and you certainly earned it.
All right, so they,
Be ready, fans.
here they go.
1, a 2, a 3, let there be.
And then he hit the button and turned the lights on at Wrigley Field for the first time. And that was on the 8th. But, I mean, you're talking about a guy who was born in the late 1800s. He's a lifelong Cubs fan, and he got to turn the lights on at Wrigley Field when he was 91 years old for their first night game. I thought
when he was born, they barely had lights.
They barely had baseball.
Yeah.
You know? When he was born, Abner Doubleday's running around somewhere. Isn't he the baseball guy, or was that the basketball
Abner
guy?
Doubleday. He's the guy
He was the baseball guy.
invented baseball.
Yeah, Casey was at the bat back then. How about that? Okay, so we'll go fast when we come back, text, and then get into a couple of teams. Stick around.
There's a lot of noise when it comes to 5G.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
Jeans do come true. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt. Just answer the questions. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Answer the questions. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their no bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if you know who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C Spire, went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out, okay? And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi. And that's where I stand.
lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts.
All right, back with you, getting all set to wrap up hour number 2. A lot to get in. We got hour 3, the casserole hour, coming up today. We'll have some fun. It's been a good show so far. Still going. Here on a Monday, welcome into the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Staying connected to you because of C-Spire, the #1 network in Mississippi. C-Spire, customer inspired. Tony Joe said one more time how to get the better than, he said the better than most podcast. It's called Better Than Average. Tony Joe, it's a play on that comment Mike Leach made on TV after beating LSU last year, and they interviewed him, and they're like, this is a heck of a way to come back to the SEC. And he goes, that's better than average, I can tell you that. And so that's where the name came from. I would tell you, Tony Joe, there's several ways you can get it. One is either on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. Just search it, Better Than Average, put my name in there. But you can also go to my website, which is mattwyattmedia.com. There'll be links there on the audio page. You can check out any of my social media, what do you call them? Channels, outlets, whatever they are. Like Twitter, Facebook. Just look for me. I'm Radio Wyatt. I've got stuff posted there from today. Follow on those and you can get future updates. That'd be a way to do it. Let's see. Any others? That'd be the best thing to do. Just search it on either Spotify or Apple Podcast. It's called Better Than Average with your hairless, half-witted host, me. Jason in Flagstaff said his biggest, vice in terms of food and eating is Mountain Dew, bread, and Little Debbie's. Otherwise, I'd never gain a pound. Louvier, in response to your text, Green Okra, about the story that you shared with Coach Bobby Bowden, which is incredible. Louvier said, wow, Green Okra, thank you for that story. Makes me really happy to know that Bobby Bowden is in heaven. Somebody texted and said, so what GW was saying is that a lot of people are talking out of the side of their necks. Exactly. And then regarding baseball, Larry, you're right. He said, how cool is it to see him play on the Field of Dreams? That'll happen Thursday night when the Yankees and White Sox will play out in Iowa on that field out in the cornfield and outside of Dyersville, Iowa, a few hundred yards from the Field of Dreams where the movie was filmed and the house is still sitting there and all. And it's really going to be a cool thing. I mean, it definitely is going to be a cool thing. All right, look, we got a couple of teams left. Why don't we just jump into them right now, Bill? What do you say?
100 teams, 100 days.
All right, so earlier we had Team 28 from the Big Ten. This is Team 27, also from the Big Ten. Let's go. And if you don't know, that's the Indiana fight song, the Hoosiers.
Who's your dad?
Who's your dad? All right, so Tom Allen going into his 5th year as the head coach at Indiana. He's doing a nice job. They were having a good year last year. And then their quarterback got hurt for the bowl game, and they weren't quite the same on offense. But they're a good football team. They went 6-2, and they were 6-1 before Ole Miss beat them in the Outback Bowl. Ooh, boy. Indiana has a bunch of players back, 60 people back on their team that are lettermen who've played college football for them. 9 on defense, 8 on offense. Let's see. Bowl games, that's okay. They lose to Ole Miss in the Outback this past year, 26-20. Close ball game. Last year in the regular season, they were 6-1. Their only loss was at Ohio State in the 5th week of the year, and that was a 7-point loss, 42-35, a good ball game. So they were a good football team. They beat Penn State, Rutgers, Michigan State to go 4-0, lose to Ohio State at 4-1, and then beat Maryland and Wisconsin in those last two. Okay, and Michael Penix is the quarterback, and like I say, he was off to a fantastic start before getting hurt last year in the shortened season. 14 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions, and an exciting player. Had a couple of rushing touchdowns for them also. And you could see that it really changed their offense, especially in that bowl game. For Indiana this year, they're going to open the season in 26 days from today, September the 4th, at Iowa. They will get Cincinnati from the AAC out of conference, and then off into their schedule. It's kind of backloaded. They have an open date in the first half of the season, and they finish the season with 7 straight ball games right on up to Thanksgiving. Famous Indiana alums. Anything jump out at you, Bill?
Well, we have a couple of talking heads. Tavis Smiley went to school there.
Yeah.
Jane Pauley went to school there. Kevin Klein. You know who that is, right?
Kevin.
Fish Called Wanda. He was in the Fish Called Wanda.
Oh.
And a few other, a lot of movies.
I thought, is he the guy who design the underwear everybody wears?
No, that's Calvin.
That's Calvin. Oh, okay. That's a guy from Back to the Future. Remember that?
Yeah. Speaking of really good announcers, Dick Enberg went to school.
Oh, wow, yes.
And if I say the name Jared Fogle, do you know who that is?
Oh, yeah.
He's the Subway guy.
The Subway guy.
He lost all the weight.
Yeah, he's holding his pants up all the time.
Mm-hmm. Also, another very good announcer, Joe Buck.
Wow.
Went to school there. And I don't know if you know this guy or not. Max Robinson used to be the main newscaster for ABC back a few years.
Okay.
Oh, probably a few years back. He went to school there.
They must have a pretty good broadcast and journalism school at Indiana, because there's a lot of sports writers that come out of there.
Do you know who Jonathan Banks is by any chance?
Well, I know one Jonathan Banks, but you must be talking about a different one.
Yeah, the guy that was on Breaking Bad.
Okay,
yeah. Bald-headed dude that looked kind of always killing people.
Okay.
Isaiah Thomas, Lee Majors.
Oh, wow.
Went to school there. Walt Bellamy, Larry Bird.
Yeah.
Antoine Randall, and Tevin Coleman. And also, this guy went to school there.
John Mellencamp.
Or John Cougar Mellencamp.
John Cougar. Okay, because Larry Bird finished at Indiana State, but he did go to Indiana first, right? And then he finished at Indiana State.
Yeah.
And John Cougar Mellencamp had the song Small Town.
Small Town.
That on growing up, my NBA highlight tape that I used to watch, the Larry Bird highlights were to the John Cougar Mellencamp song Small Town.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Tracy Freeze. All right. So that's Team 27. Well, today is 26 days from September the 4th. Let's hit it. Team number 26 from the ACC is... That would be Virginia Tech, the Hokies. I don't know what a Hokie is, but I know they always have a turkey.
Kind of Hokie.
That's what it's kind of hokey, isn't it? Justin Fuente is in his 6th year. He took over for Frank Beamer. He's in his 6th year as the head coach there. They went 5-6. In 6 years, he is 38-26. I think people expected a little better, quite honestly. It's not an easy job. He went 5-6 last year, missing out on a bowl. 2 years ago, they beat Kentucky in the Belt Bowl. Started off 2-0, beat NC State and Duke, lost to North Carolina, high-scoring game. Just got the best of Boston College, beat them like a drum, and then lost to Wake Forest, kind of a tough loss, and that started a tailspin for them. So they started the season 3-1 last year and finished on a run of going 2-5 in their last 7 ball games. So that's a little bit of Virginia Tech's season. A year ago, like Michigan that we talked about earlier, the guy who played quarterback for them last year transferred to Tennessee, same thing. Hendon Hooker, the quarterback for Virginia Tech last year, has transferred to Tennessee. So it's interesting that both of those are in the countdown and about the same place, went through the same thing. They actually opened the season on a Friday night. So they don't play on Saturday, September 4th. They play on September 3rd, where they will host North Carolina. Famous Virginia Tech alums. What jumps out?
Well, first of all, Hokie is a bird. It's evolved from a turkey, is what it's saying on my research. And
so it's Turkey-ish.
Turkey-ish, yeah.
All right.
We have Bruce Smith.
Yes.
Hoda Kotb, one of the talking heads. Tyrod Taylor. Bruce Arians.
Yeah. Played quarterback there.
Yeah. D'Angelo Hall. Let's see. We have Johnny Oates, baseball player and coach from back in the day. Del Curry.
Yeah.
Cam Chancellor. Kevin Jones. Antonio Freeman. Andre Davis. Lots of sports guys here.
Yeah.
Ernest Wilford. Vincent Fuller. Eddie Royal. Shane Graham. Darryl Tapp. Vaughn Hebron.
Terrell Suggs is on that list, I bet.
Yeah, Terrell Suggs. Terrell Edmonds. We also have a Tremaine Edmonds. I guess they could be brothers, right?
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, Frank Beamer.
Yeah, coached his own place there.
Yeah, and Chuck Clark. And also, I think I missed one here. Oh, yeah, Trey Edmonds.
Trey Edmonds.
Yeah.
Michael Vick, people forget. I mean, he was sort of before his time, man. Michael Vick was a light show at quarterback. I'm not sure we'd seen anything quite like Michael Vick at what point he came along. And you know what? He played them into the national championship game in New Orleans against, who did they play? Florida State? I think he played Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason Virginia Tech was there because of Michael Vick. Google it, Michael Vick college highlights. It's unreal. He was on a different level. He was a highlight show, man. Well, good stuff. 3 teams in the books on the countdown. If you leave us, I hope you have a great night. And if not, I hope you'll stick around for hour number 3 here in the Bureau. And we'll see what happens.
Another load of smart pills has been distributed, and I'm slap worn out. So I'll just say, so long, neighbors. Get me out of here, Percy.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
Jeans do come true. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt. Just answer the questions. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Answer the questions. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their no bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if, who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max. Got it at C Spire. Went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out. Okay. And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi. And that's where I stand.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, but this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy, better buy, better buy Bird's Eye.
Yes, always look for this Bird's Eye Bird, your guarantee of top quality frozen food. And your big Bird's Eye buy this week is Bird's Eye Orange Juice. Easy, you can serve it in a minute. Thrifty, it will save you money. Orchard fresh and delicious.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy, better buy, better buy Bird's Eye.
Now, if you know your oats and want to feel your oats and taste how good an oat cereal can be, well, you'll go for Cheerios. Great way to start the day with really great eating. That's Cheerios, one of the few foods made from oats. The tasty cereal grain everyone should have at breakfast. Crisp and golden as only a toasted oat cereal can be. And nourishing? Why, a Cheerios breakfast gives you the power protein that grown-ups need to help stay in trim and youngsters need to grow on. Toasted oat goodness, toasted oat flavor, a delicious power breakfast. That's Cheerios.
This is WRKS Pickens Jackson. Live in studio. Live and local. This is the Matt Wyatt Show. Talking about sports from around the world and right here at home. Streaming to you at the Zone 1059.com and on your radio on ESPN 105.9. The Zone.
I'm going to fix a casserole.
Come fix a little casserole here in the Casserole Hour. Welcome into the show, Hour 3, underway in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Go with the home team. Hour 3 presented by Overstreet Properties in Starkville, Stark Vegas. You know how to say it. However you say it. If it's something residential, anything residential, a place to live, a place to stay. In Starkville, whether it's permanent, you're moving there, or it's temporary, you need a condo, you need to lease an apartment, anything like that, that's where you want to go. See my friend Kane Overstreet at Overstreet Properties. His contact info at overstreetproperties.com. Feel free to comment on the live stream. We had somebody, Mike, that suggested that LSU is going to go 5-7 this year with Max Johnson as their starting quarterback. And then Sven quickly jumped in there and said, LSU will not have a losing record. He said there's too much talent. Mike said, well, maybe not, but I don't see it that way. There you go. There you go. All right. So as we jump into hour number 3, anything pretty much goes. Put the show in your lap. Let me know what you think. Feel free to text me on the Country Pleasing text line at 885-ESPN or 885-3776. Call me on the Davini phone, Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson. Your Kubota dealer. The oldest Kubota dealer in the U.S., in fact. Means they've been doing it better, longer than anyone else. Scott texted earlier. He played at Auburn. He said his first year at Auburn, they had the Bowden camp after Terry was undefeated in 1993. Tommy Bowden was the offensive coordinator as well. He says he got to meet Bobby Bowden, the father in the football complex, and he was one of the nicest, most personable humans that he was fortunate to ever get to meet. I never did get to meet him. I wish I could have. You know, and Scott, it's neat to hear that from you. You met him face to face. You hear that so much, and you have. It wasn't like these stories come out about Bobby Bowden posthumously. I mean, you've heard him for years. People say, I'm telling you, he's one of the nicest, most genuine guys I've ever met in the sport. And so we, lost a great one, but there is no question he's in a better place. White Denzel said, people can say what they want, but Virginia Tech has the best intro in college football. Beaver would disagree. Now, hang on, Denzel, what is it? All right, hold on. Are they the one that is it? I may be totally crazy here. Are they the one that do Sandman, Inner Sandman, or is that South Carolina? What does South Carolina do? They do something that this big lead in with this piece of music that everybody knows. Okay, Denzel says they come into the field with Enter Sandman playing. Right. It's great. It's great. I remember a few years ago, Denzel, I've never been there for a game. Blacksburg, Virginia. But I remember a few years ago, there was a big game, maybe a Thursday night game or something. It was a big deal. And they, the TV coverage did a really nice job of multiple camera angles to really capture, and the announcers didn't talk and just capture the sound and what it looks like when they do that. The team's coming in. Yeah, it's pretty neat. Never seen it myself. So you say Beaver would disagree, though. What does he say about it? Does he have another one that he says is better, or he just doesn't like Enter Sandman? Curious what that's all about. Ready Teddy reminded us that Terrell Suggs did not go to Arizona State. To Virginia Tech. He went to Arizona State. Sorry. Monkeys Riding Dogs says Virginia Tech used to be known as the Gobblers up until the late 70s. Didn't I have... You see, Bill, you reminded me of it, but it seems like the old Leonard's Losers clip that I had originally... No, that was Clemson, South Carolina. That wasn't that one. I had a Virginia Tech one somewhere. Seems like maybe I took it off the soundboard. Yeah, okay. Known as the Gobblers. Because Leonard Postosi's said the Gobblers, right? Olivier said Michael Vick was the original Johnny Manziel. Yeah. That's an interesting way to put it, Olivier. Yeah, in terms of just like a one-man highlight reel light show, but had a whole lot more success in the NFL than Johnny Manziel did. And the reason is because he was so much more physically gifted than than Mansell was. Was he taller or was he not? They would have been about the same size, wouldn't they? See, and the difference being that, Mansell ran what, a 4.6 at the combine? Vic ran a 4.3 on the laser. He was so fast and was a legit quarterback. Super powerful left-handed arm. I mean, just a whip for a left arm. Just a freak talent. But you're right, would run around and make plays running the ball. You just go, oh, and you'd hold your breath going, I can't believe I saw that. Look at him. You'd watch Virginia Tech games just hoping he'd take off and run. You didn't really want to see him throw the ball. And then he'd throw it from one end of the field to the other. I mean, he was unreal. Just an unbelievable talent. So, yeah, in terms of electricity and a one-man highlight, running around doing all kinds of stuff you're not supposed to be able to do, somehow Mansell did it and wasn't nearly as physically gifted as a Michael Vick was. But he sure, say what you want, but Mansell sure did make everybody else look slow, didn't he? I don't know how he did that. He's fast enough. I guess he could get 0 to top end quick. I'm going to do that today. I'm going to go back and watch some Michael Vick highlights. He was incredible. Anthony from Tupelo said, he said, I missed a couple of weeks of the show back in July while dealing with COVID. Well, Anthony, I hate to hear that, but I'm glad you hopefully have it behind you. You said, did I miss Mississippi State on the countdown? No, you have not missed them. He says State would absolutely beat the brakes off all these teams on the list the last couple of weeks. Yeah, it's interesting you say that. Teams like, what do we have today? Indiana, Michigan, Vatek. I think State would whip them pretty good. I think it might be, depending on what day and where, it might be a pretty good ball game. I'll tell you this, Anthony, I think, I can't remember. Did we already do North Carolina State? I don't think we have. I think they're still remaining, coming up too. And North Carolina State's going to host them in week 2 of the season. And they're talented and veteran. Coach has been there forever, established program, offense, defense, way of going about things and coming in there in week 2. State's going to have to play well in week 2. So Denzel says Beaver is not a fan of Metallica. He can't stand them. Well, why? See, look. How particular and picky does a person have to be to not be able to enjoy the Virginia Tech stadium entrance simply because you don't like that particular band? He's very picky.
The Beav has a very refined musical taste.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. Don't let him make you believe that. Because he likes, that's what he says. This man loves the Counting Crows. Okay? You can go out here and find 3 Stray Dogs and hit more of the right notes than Counting Crows does in half of their songs. It's pitiful. Yet he's for them and against Metallica. What's wrong with this man? The real
man, give me Metallica and Ozzy and all them in one concert.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready.
Well, that would be good. Ozzy's getting on up there, isn't he?
Yeah, he's on up there.
He's getting on up there. Real Eric texted the show. He said, I'm surprised that Lars Ulrich hasn't tried suing Virginia Tech for using Enter Sandman. Who is that? He must be with Metallica.
He's the drummer.
He's a drummer. Okay.
Drummer for Metallica.
Now, True Maroon, all he did is he texted me 3rd and 93. Okay. That was the last time that State played Louisiana Tech. And it was in Ruston. So we're talking, I think it was 2017 maybe. Yeah. I think 17, somewhere in there. Anyway, it was at La Tech. And there was a snap over the head, and the ball goes down the field, and they recovered, but they had to go 93 yards to get a first down. Third and 93. And that was, I think, Neil Price's first year. It's either his first or second year. I'm losing track here, calling our games. And he had an excellent play-by-play call of that on the radio. And it was all said and done. He goes, I have seen a lot of things, but I don't think I have ever looked down there and seen where it said 3rd and 93. I need to go back and find that. That was it, 3rd and 93. La Tech goes to state in week 1, and they lose a bunch off a team that wasn't that great to begin with. They're pretty inexperienced. I think it's going to be a tall task for La Tech coming into Starkville, but they'll have a chip on their shoulder and play hard. That you definitely do know. And Denzel gave me a fun fact here. I'll decide if it's fun or not, Denzel. He says, fun fact, Metallica gave Virginia Tech permission to use Enter Sandman. They come on the Jumbotron before the song comes on and get people fired up. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you know, Metallica was that band that was trying to get all the money straight for people that have been recording for years. Everybody who got messed over by the record companies, they were on the front edge of that.
Yeah.
Making sure people got paid what they're supposed to get paid.
Uh-huh. Okay, I got you. I see. That makes sense. Anthony said that we did NC State last week. He says, I'm calling it now. State wins that game by at least 2 touchdowns. And we're glad to hear you, Anthony, that you're back to 100%. That's good to know. Talking about Michael Vick, and Fletcher says Michael Vick was Warren Moon on steroids. Well, see, and I never saw Warren Moon play in college. You know, excellent athlete, but man, such a great passer. Nobody threw a tighter spiral in the NFL, or ever has, than Warren Moon did on just about every ball he ever let go. You talk about prototypical mechanics. If you have a young quarterback and you're just curious as to what it's supposed to look like if you had perfect throwing mechanics, a perfect throwing motion, perfect posture, perfect footwork, it's Warren Moon. Watch him. And nobody ever threw a more consistent, tight, catchable spiral, a beautiful ball than Warren Moon did. He was so good and smooth and could just, a rifle for an arm. I didn't see him play at Washington in college. I don't know if he ran around, but I can certainly see it. Hey, I'm telling y'all right now, if even those of us who watched him play, and we haven't done it in a while, but if you're listening and you didn't watch Michael Vick because of age or whatever else, you didn't watch Michael Vick play at Virginia Tech, Google it, YouTube it. You'll sit there, you'll pick your jaw up when it's over. I mean it. The real Eric said. Lars Ulrich, whatever he is, with Metallica, sued Napster back in 2000 or 2001. Napster, that's a blast from the past, 20 years ago. You can talk about a blast from the past. Hey, side note. Now, Bill, this might be right up your alley. Sometimes you look these things up. Somebody may know this, though. You know, we were talking about the lights going up at Wrigley Field in 1988. And somebody wants to know what year lights were installed at Vaught Hemingway Stadium at Ole Miss. That's what they do there. Yeah, see, I don't know. Are we talking about super recent, or are we talking about way back when they put lights in there? Which one would it be? See, it's interesting to me. You know, with college football, football in general, you just always assume that every stadium always had lights, right? Because, you know, when I think of football, the first thing that really comes to mind is high school football. I close my eyes, I kind of see and hear and think high school football. Well, I've never known anything other than high school football plays at night, right? So they thought they always had lights. Did you find anything, Bill?
Renovations continue to see 1990 when lights were added to the stadium.
90?
Sony Jumbotron. That's what it says. I don't understand that, though.
Boy, that seems recent.
And the baseball field got them in 1988.
Okay, at Swayze?
Yeah.
Well, how about that? How about Swayze got lights on a baseball field there at Ole Miss the same year the Cubs put them up? 88.
Anyway, that's what it says here according to Google.
Really? 90?
And renovations continued the summer of 1990 when lights were added to the stadium. A Sony Jumbotron scoreboard message center was added for the 1997 season.
Okay. How about that? So until further, unless other research would reveal otherwise, it looks like they didn't put in lights until 1990. So before that, it had played all day games.
I think a lot of the games were played back in the 80s during the afternoon.
Okay.
At least when I was running the Ole Miss games at a station I worked at, and it was always on a Saturday afternoon.
Afternoon?
Yeah.
Real Eric had this. Now, this might throw a kink into thinking, but he says,
Matthew just went away.
Yeah, I think
there you go.
Yeah, I think it came right back.
Yeah, it did. You're back.
Yeah, it had a little blip, but we're back. The real Eric says, I believe they used mobile lights before they put permanent ones in.
Probably so.
How about that?
A lot of them did that when television came because they had to have the extra lights. They were bringing mobile lights.
Right.
A lot of stadiums didn't have lights in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
They had to bring in mobile lights.
Eric said a lot of the night games mostly played in Jackson, but my mother-in-law, she was an Ole Miss student, and she said that they would play a lot of their night games at Memphis. Now, how about that?
Yes.
Like in the 70s, they'd go play. So when they would play a night game and they'd go to Memphis, it was a home game for Ole Miss, but it was in Memphis?
Yeah. They used to do that a lot.
Huh.
Pick different locations, like they come to Jackson, it would be a home game.
Now, in this whole conversation right here, Bill, look at what Judy just texted us. Okay, she's from Oxford. She said that for a while, the Mississippi legislature controlled permission for lights at Ole Miss and State. They wanted games played at Veterans Memorial Stadium in Jackson. Now, how about that? Because Eric already said they'd play a lot of their night games in Jackson. So I'm assuming that's probably in the 80s. And you got, again, this is pieces of information coming in via the Country Pleasing Sausage text line. But if it's true, the idea is politically, they wanted to force the schools to play in Jackson. So they'd come down there and play at night. So we got lights. We're not going to let you have lights in Oxford and Starkville.
That sounds about right. That the legislature would do that.
It sounds about right, isn't it? I tell you what, man, that is funny. That is one to research right there now. Especially we need to see what the dates are. I wonder how I find all that. That's an interesting story to me. Because if you dug down on this and you found that the crux of not having lights for a decade or a decade and a half was to still force them to continue to play games in Jackson, then I find that very interesting and entertaining. I really do. State Grad 98 texted and said that he misses seeing college games in Jackson. Certainly convenient for a lot of people in terms of travel. No question about that. How about this? Okay, Jimmy on YouTube, jumping subjects here just a little bit. But Jimmy commented and he said, Matt, quote unquote, everyone is in prediction mode. Everyone knows exactly how the season will play out. Why don't you predict how many weeks into the season before everyone will decide they know nothing? Well, predictions, man, I don't know. I do a horrible job of of sticking my neck out there and making predictions. I don't like to do it. I never feel good about it. Even when you kind of have a feeling of how something should play out, which we talk about here on the show, to go so far as to say, I'm picking so-and-so by this many points. Well, guess what? I can say that all I want to, but there's no real confidence behind it. And you know that too. You know it. And it's the same with everybody. It's like everybody that makes these hard, fast predictions on this and that, deep down, they know they don't really know. And the people that hear it also know they don't really know. It's like we just all patronize each other. I ain't got time for that. What that lady said on the news? Ain't nobody got time for that. She's exactly right. And I quote, ain't nobody got time for that. Casserole hour. Phone calls and text messages coming up. Stick around.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
Jeans do come true. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt. Just answer the questions. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Answer the questions. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their no bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if, who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C Spire, went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out, okay? And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, but this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
better buy Bird's Eye.
Yes, always look for this Bird's Eye Bird, your guarantee of top quality frozen food. And your big Bird's Eye buy this week is Bird's Eye Orange Juice. Easy, you can serve it in a minute. Thrifty, it will save you money. Orchard fresh and delicious.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy Bird's Eye.
Now, if you
To get back to our little talk.
Right here on the Matt Wyatt Show.
Yeah, we're back. That's right. We are. Bill's here. I'm here. Most importantly, you're here. That way we can have a show. Thanks for tuning in. We'll start off on the phone line, Davini Equipment phone. Dog 79, hanging on line 1. What's up? Hey, dog. Dog 79. Calling all dogs.
Into that. You there?
Hey, I'm here. I got you now. Go right ahead.
Okay. I just got in the tail end of that conversation about the stadiums and stuff. Whenever I hear that, I have to chime in. A couple of points. First of all, I don't, unless it was my grandfather was the manager of the stadium from 60 to 73, and I don't, except for Memphis, I don't, early 60s, I'm not sure, but I don't remember any games being played in Memphis. Maybe Tennessee. I know the 69 Tennessee Ole Miss game was definitely in Jackson. But you say it all the time, Matt. Even those days, what runs everything? What's it all about?
Yeah,
money.
Money, right?
Back then, I don't remember Ole Miss, but I think Scott Field held maybe 35,000 back then.
Yeah.
And all the big games were in Jackson. And, the non-conference, I know we played Southern Homecoming in Starkville in 77. And I don't know if, I know it was before your time, I don't know if you ever knew that, they used to have double headers in Jackson.
Yeah, I'd heard about those over the years.
You had a 1:30 game and a 7:30 game.
Hey, did that field ever have the old AstroTurf, or was it always grass?
No, sir. No, my granddaddy, I still remember to this day, that was his baby. That field was his baby. And he'd get a cup of sand out of the long jump pit and walk around with his penknife, digging out what any little crabgrass in there and filling cleat holes and everything.
Yeah.
In fact, they had the circus there one year, and that was the only year they had it there because the elephants tore the field up. And then one year we had a van up there we used to drive around. That's another thing people don't understand. From back then, in the summer around this time, we'd drive around the whole state putting out placards and ticket order forms at every little town in the state, usually at the bank or the gas station or the pharmacy. Things like, anyway, some kids broke in and drove a figure eight on the field like a couple weeks before the season. That was not a good thing. But yeah, it's and then I believe it's either 69 or I think it's 69 at Jackson State started playing their home games there, and you'd have a doubleheader with them sometimes too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's neat. Wish those things were possible here.
Well, people, they're saying they wish they could play games. They couldn't pull off a game like that these days in Jackson because UMC, back then, they would close the parking lot that UMC uses now.
Yeah.
And for the parking, but they have so much of it now. There's no way they could hold a game in Jackson. Just beyond beyond the fact some people wouldn't come to Jackson. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. Hey, you'll find this interesting. Okay, so you had experience with your grandfather running Veterans Memorial Stadium and going out and filling in potholes and whatever else it is on the playing surface. Let's see, was it last year? It was 2 years ago at Tupelo High School when Trent Hammond was still the head coach. And I went out there one day for something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was one afternoon about this time of year, close to preseason. All right. They had a guy who, I don't know if he makes his living as a business he runs, whatever, but he apparently goes all over the place. And he has this contraption. an apparatus that you hook to the back of like a lawnmower or a small tractor or one of these little Gator ATV machines. And it's a large, strong magnet that lays on the ground. And it's like, I think it was round, kind of like a roller almost. And you drive it and drag it over this artificial turf that we have now.
Right.
The field turf stuff that we have now. And it's anything metal, it picks it up and brings it's almost like vacuuming that your playing surface to make sure that okay, so anything metal sticks to that magnet. Well, that thing was sitting over at the side, and he said, "Come here and look at this." I looked at that, and I want to say they did it again later, and he sent me some pictures too because I had them on my phone. You would not believe the stuff that is down in that artificial playing surface that's metal. I'm talking about, and I don't mean just like jewelry, which whatever it is, whether it's magnetic or not. I'm talking about all kinds of metal things, nails and screws and pieces.
I was just going to say that's scary sounding there.
And like
you playing on field with that on it.
I know, little sharp metal objects. You're going, I'm getting tackled on this stuff. It was crazy. And the guy apparently has a pretty good business going around like sucking all that out of people's playing surfaces. It's not a bad thing at all.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I would want to play on it.
I'm telling you. Well, anyway, I thought you'd find that interesting.
Yeah.
All right. I thought I couldn't help but think about the Larry the Cable Guy joke, and we should have told that guy, "Hey, I hope you found a remote control because I've been looking for that thing for 2 weeks. Let me know if you bring it up out there at the 10-yard line."
Right.
All right, appreciate the call.
All right.
Thank you. Let's see. On line 2, we have a former SEC official, Mr. Don Shanks, gracing us with his presence. Don,
hello.
What's up?
Hello, Matt. Hey, how you doing?
I'm just right. Thanks for calling.
Well, you were talking about Virginia Tech, and it brought back some old memories. I worked Michael Vick's last game in college, which I think was a Gator Bowl. He was like a junior coming out.
Okay.
And but early in the game, he's in the shotgun, takes a snap, and he breaks out to the right side and away from me, and I start drifting in with my receiver and such. But he reversed his field, and he was on top of me before I could blink. And so much so, I had to actually turn and run to get to the sideline before he turned up. Because, mortal sin in football, you can't let a ball carrier get outside of you. And but he was the quickest football player that I think I've ever seen. He could just reverse the field on a dime, and he was just ahead of his time. I think you mentioned that. But he was the quickest I've ever seen. Just a great football player. Today he would be your.
Go ahead, Don. I interrupted you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. I was just going to say, if he was playing today, he'd be your number one pick, and he's the kind of player that could have taken a team to the Super Bowl, his first year.
Yeah. Well,
and you just don't believe how quick he was.
Well, and watching him on television, you sort of, he's so graceful. And he looked fast. Some guys who are fast don't look fast. He always looked fast, but he was so graceful. And when he would get going north and south, he just made everybody else look like they were standing still. And I remember, when he was in the NFL with the Falcons, they would have these stories coming out of their training camps, how DBs and receivers would want to race him, and he'd outrun all of them. He was incredible.
Well, like you say, he glided, and he looked like he really wasn't running until you were out there on the field, and you just didn't realize how fast and quick he was.
Right.
And I'm sure they scripted plays where he went back and he says, "Okay, guys, let the man come through. I'm going to step aside and I'm just going to break and run." It looked like at times that's exactly what he did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you couldn't trap him in a phone booth.
No. That's it. There were games they played in where the defense just had no chance whatsoever, because you're right. I mean, and I'm not exaggerating. You know it, Don. They played games where if they had wanted to just tell him on every play, hey, just drop back and then scramble, he could have done it and made yards and first downs, and he would just done whatever he wanted to. He was incredible.
Well, and come fourth quarter, I mean, your defensive linemen and end, they're dead.
They dead. They tired.
I mean, they just, and they decided that they're not going to chase him.
Right. Right. Yeah. That's it. And then that's it. Anyway, they would stay back and they just play, patty cake at the line of scrimmage. And then when he did throw it, he'd flick his wrist and throw it 65 yards in the air. He was incredible.
Oh, he had a laser.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he threw the ball so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, his receivers, had a tough time catching his ball. But like you said, I mean, he'd go, 50, 60 yards down the field.
Yeah.
But he was, and I met him at our banquet, before the game. Was a nice young man. He was chiseled. I mean, he was a walking specimen of a player.
Yeah.
And just a nice young guy. You hated to see what happened to him, later on. But
sure.
I know at that time he was a very humble young man.
Well, Don, I appreciate your phone call, and thanks for the story. It's really neat to hear that. Thank you. Don Shanks, longtime official. He called the last game Michael Vick played in. Got a picture here. Shane Beamer posts today. So fired up to have Michael Vick here today at South Carolina football. I think there's a relationship there going back with the Beamer family. We'll wrap it up with you next. Stick around.
Hey, Jackson, did you say it's your birthday?
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Arrived today. Jeans do come true. Thank you, Blue Delta. Yeah, jeans do come true. That's what the bag says. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Raw denim jeans, custom fit, hand tailored in Tupelo, Mississippi, my hometown. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit, design a jean, and before you know it, you'll be addicted. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase. Again, that's if you listen to me, you can use discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase, and at checkout, you're going to get a 10% discount off your order. So I just went online, ordered them, BlueDeltaJeans.com a couple weeks ago. Went in, I didn't go get measured. I just entered, what I knew about myself. I just answered the questions, and here they are at my doorstep a couple weeks later. Nice. Yeah, Blue Delta. Nice. I'm happy. I've known the Blue Delta team for years, and I'm thrilled to have these guys on as a sponsor of this show. Blue Delta's virtual tailor is a fun and easy way to get yourself into the best fitting pair of jeans you're ever going to own. Bet you never thought you'd get a butt shot out of me, huh? How about that? Just answered the questions and they fit absolutely perfectly. They couldn't fit better. So just go online, BlueDeltaJeans.com, answer the questions. It's amazing how they do it. They will fit perfectly. You're not going to find better material and better feeling pants, period, anywhere. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. I promise you that. And I know that you are going to love them too. Make sure you use the code. And remember, jeans do come true.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Let me tell you about an ice cream can't be beat.
The very best tasting you can eat.
It's Meadow, 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 Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. Go to your ice cream man today and here's the word that you should say. Oh, give me Meadow, Meadow, Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold.
And remember, folks, Meadow Gold
is mighty good.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
6 o'clock, dinner time. Thank goodness for Jell-O instant pudding.
Yes, thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding. The terrific busy day dessert you can make at the very last minute. See how quick and easy. Just add it to cold milk and beat it up. That's all. By the time you're ready to eat it, it's all ready for you. Jell-O Instant Pudding, made by the famous Jell-O folks. So creamy, so nourishing, so delicious. No other instant pudding is quite the same. Stock your shelves with all 7 flavors. The good, busy day dessert. Jell-O Instant Pudding.
It's the Matt Wyatt Show on 105.9 The Zone and worldwide online at The Zone, 1059.com.
All set to wrap things up with you. First, though, we'll jump over here to the phone line, Davini Equipment phone line, 995-1059. Nelson is on the line with us. Got a Bobby Bowden story. Hey, Nelson, thanks for calling.
Yeah, Matt. I was a student trainer at USCM in the early 80s. And 82, we played Florida State and just got beat 21-14. But it was a really close game. We could have won it. But after the game, what was so impressive to me about Coach Bowden, after the game, he came in the training room and talked to the student trainers about having a big part in the basically the moral victory at that point, and that was just so impressive. How coaches are now today are kind of untouchable, but he was just so down to earth and so impressive, and I will never forget, him coming in and talking to us. And as we had a part, as you know, student trainers are just kind of in the background, but to him that was we played an important part, and that was important. That was a big memory.
A lot of the things I'm hearing, Nelson, your story, what Green Okra texted us earlier about how he took an interest in him and his father's health situation and sent him a helmet. I've always heard this particular quote accredited to Maya Angelou, and I don't know if it originated with her or what, but maybe it did. The quote was, people will forget what you do, they will forget what you say, but they'll never forget how you make them feel. And that's what I keep, that's kind of what I think. It seems like what you're saying is maybe he had a knack for understanding that.
He did, and I feel like that's certainly why he was so successful. But I also heard him at an FCA meeting one time, and he spoke, and it just saying down to earth, kind of never forgets the face. It picks everybody up in the room kind of person. And just, like I said, I will never forget that. I'm 61, but won't forget that day that he just came in the training room and talked to us like we were just some of his own players.
Mm-hmm. That's really neat. Thanks for the story, Nelson. Thank you.
Sure.
Call me anytime. Bobby Bowden passed away this weekend, 91. He was absolutely a born-again believer in Jesus. There's no question about Coach Bowden's faith in his salvation. And that's a blessing, certainly to his family that's still here, but he's in a better place. All right. Every now and then in the casserole hour, Bill and I get wild hair. Well, by every now and then, what I mean by that, Bill, is every day.
Yeah.
That's really what I mean, is we get a wild hair. And we jump into the Wayback Machine. So we're going to do that again because it's our show, and we can do what we want until somebody stops us. I know that's not necessarily the definition of doing what we want, but it'll just have to work. So we're going to 1975 because on this day, August the 9th, 1975, a couple things happened. Involves some of the music that we like. Bill really likes it, and I really like it too. It's just good stuff. All right, so we're going to start off. August 9th, 1975. Hamilton, Joe, Frank, and Reynolds performed. What's the name of this song, Bill?
Fallen in Love.
Fallen in Love. Now, you found there's some trivia with this. So the name of the group was Hamilton, Joe, Frank, and Reynolds.
That's correct.
Is it 3 guys or 4, and or is one of them named Joe Frank?
Yeah, Joe Frank Corolla is actually his name. Yeah, that was Danny Hamilton.
Okay.
Joe Frank Corolla. And Reynolds, I can't remember what Reynolds' first name was, but there's 3 of them, yeah.
Okay. It's 3 of them, all right.
Yep, and Joe Frank was from Leland, Mississippi.
Now, how about that? Now, where is Leland?
It's in the Delta, isn't it? Yeah.
I think that's right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The man...
And of course, he's the only one still living from the group also.
Okay.
I'm falling.
Falling. Let's hear him say it.
Here we go.
There it is. Falling in love again.
The guy singing was from England. That's Dan Hamilton.
Okay, well, that's obviously a famous one. So same day on American Bandstand that you had that one going on, a guy named Willie Hutch performed Love Power.
The power of love.
If you were DJing, is that how you would intro this one, Bill?
It's Love Power, Willie Hutch, on your hit radio.
Talking about love power.
Talk about it, baby.
We started out talking about practice.
Come on, Willie. I know you need some more words. Yeah, I do need a word.
Yeah, we don't need. Who needs lyrics when you got a horn section? Willie Hutch. I am not familiar with this, but it does sound very 1975-ish. Let me tell you about this Love Power.
Yeah, he hadn't said a whole lot of words, though.
Well, that was fun on this day in 75 on American Bandstand. Hey, I got one for you. You didn't know was coming, Bill.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. On this day, August 9th, 1983, this guy was made the new anchor of the ABC News World News Tonight show. This guy right here.
From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Tonight, reporting from Malta.
Good evening. George Bush and Mikhail Gorbachev have arrived here on the island of Malta. After a night's sleep, they'll begin talking tomorrow morning.
Peter Jennings became the lead voice on ABC World News Tonight on this day in 1983. You know, when I was looking that up, Bill, maybe I knew this and it totally had just left me at some point. Did you realize that Peter Jennings passed away in 2005?
Yep.
See, I mean, we're talking 16 years ago. I did not realize it. I thought he was still around. But Peter Jennings. Okay, so see, he popped up there in 83 on ABC at the same time. So you had Peter Jennings on ABC World News Tonight. You had Tom Brokaw on, which one was he on? NBC?
NBC.
Okay, well then who would the CBS News anchor have been? Was that?
Well, they had one time they had two. They had Connie Chung was one.
Yeah.
I think. Let's see.
Okay, who was Dan? Help me
Dan
out.
Rather.
Who was Rather?
He was on CBS.
So he was on CBS during a lot of that time too. So, like at the time, ABC put Peter Jennings on, and look, he went in there and immediately started drawing ratings, and he was up against Brokaw and Rather. I mean, and that was just before the era, those 10 to 15 years just before the whole thing fell apart. Nobody watching any of that stuff anymore. All right. Let's see what Chad wants to say. He's on line 1. I got like 1 minute, Chad. Got to go quick.
Do you think that JT Daniels is the best quarterback in the SEC this year?
Okay, Chad. Do I think JT Daniels is the best quarterback in the SEC this year? Yeah, I think he might be. I think it's between he and Corral. I think Daniels probably has a better collection of, NFL type athletes around him, and he's going to play an Eastern Division schedule as opposed to Corral playing a Western one. And I think so. For those reasons, I think JT Daniels is going to pop up and be a first round pick by somebody because I think he's really good. Yeah, I'd have him at number 1. Chad, thank you for your call, buddy. Well, we ended in a flurry with Peter Jennings, Willie Hutch, Hamilton, Joe Frank, and Reynolds, and Chad and JT Daniels. We are bridging generations here, connecting them. That's what we do, sort of. We'll try it again tomorrow. Y'all have a great night. See you on Tuesday.
Another load of smart pills has been distributed, and I'm slap worn out. So I'll just say, so long, neighbors. Get me out of here, Percy.